What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the Raging Rainbow. My name is Dylan, doing a comic book review for Radiant Black number 6, where we finally get some of the backstory on Red. Okay, so last issue, I think it was last issue, we had it revealed to us that Red is actually a girl. And so we're finally starting to see a little bit more about who Red is and why Red is doing what they're doing. And so we kind of start out on this little like family scene. And Red, if you can see, is the one wearing red over there in the corner. And her name is Saitomi. And she has this, I think, fiance. I don't think they're actually married yet. His name is Owen, sitting next to her, and they're here with like all the family and everything, kind of just chit chatting about life. And then we kind of get this indication from her parents that pretty much she's always kind of constantly worried about life just in general, and she's kind of not putting enough, I guess, effort into the wedding or whatever. She says it's been a lot lately. The wedding, end of the year stuff with the kids, finishing the grad school applications. I'm just a little burnt out because she's a teacher. So she says, he says, I keep telling her we can always look at postponing the wedding. And then her mom is like, no, 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 absolutely not. The family can help out. So she just says, we're trying to make things easier, mom. And she says, I know you don't want your parents like helping out, offering our old time opinions or whatever. And then she tells her, like, just remember, the wedding is just one day and that we have a lot of experience about, dedicating yourself to another person every day. So very cute. But then the dad pipes up to basically tell her, like, I'm glad for you, I'm happy for you, and everything like that. You two are going to make a great family. And just if you kind of focus on the way that they look right here, because when you turn the page, I guess this is literally right after they like left from there and they're driving, and as you can see, they're not all that happy with each other. So unfortunately, I guess that is kind of very common for a lot of couples, right? Like when you're around your parents, everything's fine, and then when you're in the car driving home, that's when you see how they actually are. So they're not really paying much attention, and then or to each other. And then she says, thanks for signing my name on the Christmas cards, I just didn't get around to it. And he's like, sure. So then he reaches out his hand to her, and like she takes his hand. They're holding hands as they get home. So they get back to their place, and as they pull up, there's a dude in a suit outside, and apparently he's a guy from the bank. I'm not really sure why he's outside their house at night. Do bank guys come by the house at night? I thought they would only come by during business hours. I didn't know they just set their own hours. Because it's kind of creepy for him to just be sitting outside their house at night. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, I could understand him showing up during the day, but to be just waiting for them to get home. So they pull up. He says he needs to talk to Owen, and then while she's inside, we can kind of see through the window, and they kind of have it like muffled, I guess, because like there would be a little bit of muffling through the glass. So I guess that was a nice effect. But he's basically saying like, I need more time. There's only so much I can make happen right now. And the other guy's telling him like, yo, I was very clear. There's no more time. Like, what, you need the money right now, or we need the money really right now. So he goes back inside, and then she's asking him like, when did you start again? So apparently he has like a gambling problem. He says, I didn't start again. She says, that was Lloyd from our MK branch waiting in our driveway. So then he just yells out that he didn't start. So apparently this one of their many problems, apparently. So we see, or maybe this is the only one, because this is the only one we actually see. But I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure they probably have a few other issues too. So he says, a few months ago there was a card game at work. I sat in, and then just a few more times, some outside games. That's it. I didn't start again. So he's trying to make excuses for the fact that he is gambling again. And then she says, a few months? Oh, and we're still paying off the last time you played. We can't just keep praying that some new contractor will show up every time and bail us out. So he says, I've been handling everything, making all the payments on time. So she says, then why was Lloyd in the driveway? Good question. So he says, I'm sorry. They told me I slipped. Okay, I'm sorry. And then she's asking him, like, well, how bad is it? He says, look, this order I was talking about at dinner, it is going through. Once it does, everything will be fine. I just need to buy a little more time. So she asks, what if you can't? So he just like gives her that look of like, well, it's gonna get pretty damn bad. So she's like, what? The house? Can you get a separate loan on the company? So he says, Satomi, the bank is here to collect. So then that's when he brings up, well, maybe your parents. And she says, no, they're about to retire. We can't ask them for that. We need to be done with this. We'll never move forward with this kind of debt over our heads. We can use the grad school money because it, like, she wants to go to grad school or whatever, and so they had like a separate account for her to do that. And he says, absolutely not, you're going to get into a great school. And she's like bringing up the house, and he says, I believe in you and love you too much to let my mistakes jeopardize both our futures, which is a damn lie, as we'll find out later. And he says, we don't need to touch that account, okay? So he says, "You see that? They're texting me about the order now. Don't even worry about it. I've got this handled because he has like a business, I guess, where he supplies materials to like building contractors and shit." So he says, "Thank you for not giving up on us." But then when she kind of like comes in close for the hug, we can see he still kind of has a look on his face like things aren't all the best. So then we go to them laying in bed and her just being worried about the shit. So she's outside one day, like I guess wherever she works, like part for the company or what, I don't know what it is. But anyway, she's saying like, say tell me, what answers did you possibly think you were going to find here? We are so screwed. Well, okay, that's what it was. She went to his work, and then that's where she was like trying to look over the financials, I guess. And then while she's there, we can see up in the sky there's like these lights. And if you'll see, the lights kind of correspond to all of the radiance that we've seen so far. There's the blue, which is really the black one. Then there's the red one that breaks off. And then there's the pink and the yellow that we saw at the end of the last issue. So we see the red one breaks off, and obviously, of course, it's going to fly right towards her and then take over her. So this one's a little bit interesting in that her power isn't the same as the one we've seen so far with Radiant Black, where with him it was like what, flying, a little bit of super strength, and then like wasn't there energy projection as well? With this one, apparently the ability is to absorb material and then use it as armor. So that's what we kind of see as she's falling. You can see like the red things that take over those rocks that are falling with her and kind of absorb it into the boot to help her, or to boots to help her land. And then that's where she's kind of like walking away. She's like, I'm okay. Like, how am I okay or whatever? And then she's like, did I just absorb a bunch of rocks? I'm absorbing things. So she immediately is able to just like kind of control the helmet or whatever. And she like takes it down, looks at herself, and then she's just like, immediately pissed off. So we see she's already got that inclination of a little bit being a little bit villainous, because then the very next thing is that she goes to the bank. And I at first thought she's just going to go straight into robbing banks, but no, she goes to the bank to try and like talk to them about like what can be done to settle their debts or whatever the hell. So she's trying to give herself a pep talk, and she's saying like, you can do this, you can go in there, you can fix this, you can do anything, like you have magic powers now or whatever. So she goes in and she says, so we just want to get this all taken care of, above board, and move on with our lives, whether that's taking out a loan or something for the business. I'd like to know what options we have so we can get this all resolved, win-win. So he's like, sure, yeah. And that's admirable that you're looking for help to wrap things up financially, but unfortunately, we only have a limited number of candidates that we can approve. So he gives her like the whole spiel of like, we're not giving you the loan. And I gotta say, he's a very unnerving looking person, especially like if you look at his hands. I don't know if that was by mistake that like his knuckles being segmented like that was left in, but it almost makes it look like he has robot hands. I don't know. Or maybe he has the prosthetic. It could be, but it doesn't seem to be the case, especially because he's using both hands to type. So I don't know. I'm not aware of any prosthetics that allow people to do that just yet. But anyway, he says, well, she brings up the fact that, like, I understand, but my history is entirely different. And I have another account here that would more than guarantee my good standing. You can pull it up. So he says, you said it was the account ending in 1894? And she says, yes. So he looks at it and he's like, well, now, I'm sorry to say, Miss, what is it, Sone or Sone? I'm not sure how it's pronounced. He says, but that account is empty. And then he, like, shows her the screen and everything and, like, shows where, I mean, yeah, some money has gone in, but all of it is gone. Literally all of it is gone. And she just looks at it and she sees like it has her signature, but it's not really her signature. So of course it was the husband, or yeah, whatever he is. So we go back to their house and he's showing up back home and he's like, "Hey, honey," and then she just immediately launches into it. She's like, "Where's the money, Owen?" So he's like, "What do you mean?" And of course, she snaps and she's like, "You forged my signature. All of my savings for school are gone. For what?" She just yells out. She's like, "Where is my money, Evan? Owen?" I don't know why I called him Evan. Owen. And then she says, "Is that why you told me you didn't want to use it before? Because you had taken everything already? Tell me the truth, Owen. Tell me the whole damn truth." So he's just kind of, I guess because he doesn't really know how to play it off or like how he can finagle his way out of the situation, he decides to very quietly tell the truth. So in very small letters, he's saying like, "You never seemed like you were actually going to go, so I thought I could refill it. I lost a lot, more than I ever told you, and I took your money, but it's still not enough. No matter what new deals come in, we don't have anything." So not only was he lying about how he didn't start again, he took all of their money and got them into even more debt so that even if they were to sell literally everything, they still don't have enough. Like, damn, dude. So she says, "Owen," and he's like, "You were never supposed to look at that account." And then she starts getting loud again, but he's like, "I never asked you to fix this. I never expected you to. Why did you have to get involved?" So she's like, "I was always involved, whether you like it or not. You know, I live here and I care about you. So yeah, like y'all are both in this together." He says, You don't have a clue how any of this works. You're a teacher who's never dealt with anything bigger than a kid who doesn't want to read." He says, "You should have let me handle it." Well, I mean, you weren't handling it so far. And he says, "Now you've walked into a bank asking for another loan. Do you know how embarrassing that is?" Yeah, I think she felt it the whole time she was there. He's like, how it's going to make us look? They could mark that and it'll affect anything we try to do in the future. You ruined this, Satomi, okay? Do you get that now? You don't know the first thing about handling real responsibility, much less handling a bank. So all of a sudden, like, her power kind of manifests and she punches the damn wall. So, of course, he's a little bit, like, disturbed, realizing, like, she just punched the wall really damn hard. So she's saying, like, "You're the reason we're sitting in a house we're about to lose. You're the reason we've been in a hole the entire time I've known you. You're the reason we're here. I may be a small town teacher, but don't for a second try to convince me that I'm responsible for how we ended up here." So she says, "I can't do this anymore, Owen." She's like going to walk out. But of course, he gets her to stop. And then he does this whole thing again where he's like apologizing. He's like, I realize I can't fix it. I don't know how to fix anything without you. Like, please don't give up on me and all that shit. So he does that. And then he has like the tear coming down, the one tear, which I think, don't they say like when it's just one tear coming down, that's actually like fake? So she goes up and she hugs him or whatever the hell. And then she decides, like, all right, you know what? It's time to just do something about this. So she gets out of her car and then I guess she goes and rips the engine out of someone else's car just for the hell of it to make some more armor, I guess. So she goes into the bank, and then all of a sudden we see her coming back home, and the door just slams open. He's like, "Satomi, like, what did you do?" And then she's just standing there like a fucking boss, and she's like, "I handled it." So she's got like the two bags of money and shit. She's like, "I got it handled. Like, shut up, don't ask questions. I took care of the problem. There, go pay the debt." So we'll see what ends up happening. I'm just really glad that they finally like kind of gave us some backstory on Red. I had been wondering, A, who the hell it was, B, what are the powers, and then C, how did that manifest? Where did you come from? So we got all of that right there. So I got nothing to say. Like, I'll shut my damn mouth. Like, the one of the things that I really wanted to know was that. Now what I really want to know is what's up with the pink and the yellow one. Where the hell is all of this stuff coming from? So I'm assuming we're going to start getting into more of that now that we know more about Red. They killed off Nathan, who was the first Radiant Black, and now have Marshall, his best friend, in the role. So I don't know if they're going to bring Nathan back in some sort of way. I don't know. We're going to find out. But honestly, like, the series itself is developing pretty well. It was a slow burn at first. I make no bones about that. I definitely was not the biggest fan of the book at first. It was annoying the hell out of me. But I kept picking it up, and I'm glad that I did, because the story has actually developed, or is developing, into something pretty entertaining. Now, granted, there are still a lot of ways that it can go wrong and it can go completely off the track, but I don't believe that's going to happen. It seems to be developing pretty well right now. Like I said, it was a slow burn, but it might be actually a pretty good payoff. So here's hoping for that. But I think that's going to do it for my review on Radiant Black number six. Like I said, I just can't wait to see where this series is going to go. I wasn't sure about it at first because everybody was touting it as like a brand new superhero adventure and everything. I was like, but will it really be? And it didn't seem like it at first, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So I'm willing to keep coming back and see what happens. But yeah, if you're picking this book up, do feel free to let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And if you like this video, then definitely like the video, subscribe, make sure you're sharing the video to all your friends. And if you're done here, guys, then go read a book, particularly that one. And if not, then I'll see you on my next video.